All right, welcome to the STEM Biology podcast for Chapter 18, Section 3, which is on energy transfer. Okay, so let's talk about organisms. All organisms can be classified into two categories. This is stuff you probably learned back in middle school. Autotrophs. Autotrophs make their own food through photosynthesis. These are plants, some protists, and some bacteria. The other group is a heterotroph. These cannot make their own food through photosynthesis. They get their energy by eating other organisms. These are all animals, most protists, all fungi, and many different types of bacteria. All right, producers. Producers is another name for an autotroph. Producers most of them are photosynthetic, and they make carbohydrates like glucose by using energy from the sun. Some autotrophic bacteria do not use solar energy to make food. They use inorganic molecules instead, and this process is called chemosynthesis. You can measure how much energy is being produced by organic compounds through a net productivity is called gross primary productivity. It is the rate at which producers in an ecosystem are actually capturing the energy of the sunlight and producing these organic compounds. Gross primary productivity. The organic material that is produced in an ecosystem is called biomass, a lot of vocabulary terms. The rate at which this biomass is accumulating is called net primary productivity. Net primary productivity equals gross primary productivity minus the rate of respiration in producers. The net primary productivity varies among ecosystems. It's highest, obviously, in the tropical rainforests. All right, now consumers. Consumers are heterotrophs. They obtain energy by eating other organisms, and they include herbivores, which are plant eaters, omnivores, which eat both animal and plants, carnivores, which only eat animals, and then you have detrivores, and these eat freshly dead things. Some detritivores are decomposers, and decomposers actually will take that dead organic material and recycle it. Okay? Clip.
Producers are organisms that make their own food. Plants, algae, and some bacteria are producers. Most producers use energy from sunlight to make their food. Some bacteria use energy from chemical reactions to make their food. Consumers are organisms that eat other organisms or organic matter instead of making their own food. All animals are consumers. So are fungi, most protists, and some bacteria. Some consumers eat producers. These consumers are called herbivores. Other consumers eat both producers and other consumers. These consumers are called omnivores. Some consumers only eat other consumers. These consumers are called carnivores. As you can see from the diagram, energy flows through an ecosystem, moving from producers to consumers.
All right, let's talk about this energy flow. When one organism eats another organism, molecules are metabolized and energy is transferred from one to the other. An organism's trophic level indicates the organism's position in a sequence of energy transfers. So in that picture that I just showed you in the clip, the first level at the bottom are the producers, the second level are the herbivores, and then the third and fourth levels are the carnivores and the omnivores. So here are your autotrophs, producers, your plants. Then you have your heterotrophs. These consist of the herbivores, which are your primary consumers, small carnivores, which are your secondary consumers, and then you have your larger animals up here, which are your tertiary consumers or large carnivores. And so they can be situated as a triangle as well. Okay? All right, with this, it kind of leads to food chains and webs. A single pathway of energy transfer is a food chain, as shown here. The arrow points to the organism that eats the thing before the arrow. So the flower is eaten by the caterpillar is eaten by the frog is eaten by the snake, and the snake is eaten by the owl. A network showing all the different paths of energy transfer is a food web. Here's another food chain, however, though. Algae to krill, krill to cod, cod to leopard seals, and then the killer whale at the top. A food web consists of, it's more realistic, because that's not just going to be, this isn't the only food. Krill is not just going to eat algae. Cod is not only going to eat just krill. It's going to find other food in their ecosystem. So a food web is more realistic. It shows all the multiple food choices that they'll eat. Okay? Okay, energy transfer. Ecosystems contain only a few trophic levels, 1 through 4, right? First level, second, third, and fourth, because there is a low rate of energy transfer between each level. Even though it would be nice to get a lot of energy from the food you eat, it's not going to happen. Only 10% of the energy you get from the level below you. The rest of that energy is lost as heat. So, for example, whoops, go back. Producers are going to get, 100% of the energy from the sun, but then the herbivores are only going to get 10% of that energy, and the small carnivores are only going to get 10% of the herbivores. And you can see the decimals forming here. Large carnivores are only going to get 10% of the energy of the small carnivores. So the energy level is limited to only having 4 trophic levels. And that finishes section 3.